Hello everybody, fellow preppers. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It's Tuesday, August 28th, the year 2012. See, we got another one of those cool, humid mornings here. Back window's all fogged up, can't really see the workshop. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody once again for watching and listening and replying. You know, it's funny. People are funny. There's all kind of people out there. And when you put yourself out in the public eye, some people are going to like you. Some people are going to hate you. Most people are going to ignore you. You know, some people think they're smarter than you are. Some people think you're full of it. Just get all kinds. Some people want to argue with you no matter what. Some people will just agree with you. But like I said, most people ignore you as though you don't even exist. So I had made that video about how you can earn $15 to $50 an hour. That's booked by, with your pickup truck or van, booked by Don Lilly. Make sure you can see that. And some people thought, yeah, that's pretty good. Wow, that's encouraging. And then there was one or two, I guess, that didn't quite see it that way. Well, let me read from page 6 in the book. And this is very telling. And I want you to pay attention to the last couple of sentences. There are many opportunities beyond hauling which quickly come to the surface. And this book gives you the step-by-step plan of action which begins with the hauling service and branches out to include bigger and better opportunities. Some of these related possibilities are outlined in the last chapter. The hauling rates quoted will, of course, change with time and place and circumstance. But no matter when you place your first ad, if you follow the simple rules of making a few calls to others in the same business and asking their present rates, you'll have a basis for developing your own rate schedule. If you choose not to use this schedule included in the chapter on quoting. With each job you accept, your quoting ability will begin to grow. Finally, to prove that an idea works on the practical level, it should work for anyone as well as its originator. My brother is an example of a young man who claimed there was no work unless some established business was hiring. And usually they weren't, or they were paying too little to meet his daily needs. Thus, he was unemployed quite often. So I loaned him the money to buy a pickup, and he placed an ad in the local newspaper. One of his first jobs was to clear a man's property of leaves and brush. Then he was asked if he was available to do some interior painting. He began in the living room. Then he was asked to paint the dining room and hallway, then the kitchen, the bath, the 2 bedrooms, and finally the entire exterior of the house. In the meantime, the same man wanted his kitchen floor replaced. My brother told me about it, and I got a contract to install a quarry tile floor. A friend of this man then asked who cleared his property, and my brother soon had work from that source. You get the point. My brother no longer claims there is no work, as he knows how to ask for it in the appropriate places. In fact, in the warm months, he soon realized he had to turn away some jobs because he'd be working 7 days a week. I won't claim you will make $1 million with a pickup or van, though you might. I simply state if you need a little water to prime the pump, a little gasoline to fire the engine, then read on, pour away, and watch the water begin to flow. Listen to that engine kick over. And forget about unemployment. There is no such word. So you see, for those of you who say, well, yeah, that worked for you back in the 90s because it won't work today because of gas prices, because of this, because of that, you're missing the point. Once you put your mind to something, you'll figure out how to do it, how to make it work if you stick to it. You know, sometimes there's a point where you have to cut your losses. But if you've got faith in yourself and your abilities, and you've got that gut feeling that, you know, you're on the right course, you just have to be tenacious about it. Don't give up. And don't listen to what other people tell you about it can't be done or why it won't work. I mean, had I done that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have done most things in life had I listened to others. I mean, there's only a few things I can think of that somebody else told me that was worth listening to. And if you think about it, you'll probably come to the same conclusion. But a lot of people lack self-confidence, self-esteem because they've been listening to all that garbage that's out there. You got to be your own person. I say you got to be your own dog. You know, you got to venture off the front porch. You got to take that leash off. You know, once again, you've got to take freedom, take your own power. Because there's no reason, like you said, unemployment, there's no such word. I'm sure if I wanted to, and I just might sometime down the road after I get done with all the things I have to do, that might be years, but I just might run that ad again. I had run an ad, like I said, back in the 90s, 91. Back, yeah, had the little free paper here, March 25, 1991. See, and I did it just like he said, pretty much. Like I said, just one of those things where I tried to follow the rules exactly, you know, what he said to see if it worked, and it worked. But I'm sure, you know, I could put an ad very similar to the hauling, you know, have pickup or van. I could put in something, you know, about the brush clearing or the chainsawing, you know, need some limbs lopped, I got a pole saw. And I'm contemplating about getting a hydraulic log splitter because I don't think I want to swing that splitting maul to cut all this wood, split all this wood. Anyway, back to the point. The point is that, you know, for all the naysayers, you know, I don't require anybody agree with me. In fact, everybody can disagree with me if they want. It doesn't bother me, it doesn't affect me. It really doesn't. And if you want to post negative comments or tell me why something doesn't work, that's okay. I'm not going to delete them unless you just get personal and nasty. You know, if you're using cuss words, if you're making derogatory remarks, you know, that's just flaming. And come on, we're adults. You guys are above that. Really. There's just no need for that kind of stuff. You know, telling me I'm off my rocker or something, well, you know, that's kind of in fun and everything, and, you know, I can take it because I can dish it out, but, you know, so long as you stay to the point and say, you know what, well, it's not going to work because of this, that, or the other, feel free, post away. You know, it's good to get everything out in the open so people can watch the video, read the comments, and come to their own conclusions. And that's what this is all about. It's not about me telling you how to think or what to think, or and I might teach you how to think, but not what to think. I think I even did one of those videos. Anyway, back to the point. You don't have to agree with me, but like I said, in this case, this is something that works. It worked for me. It's worked for others. And it's like he says, there's plenty of work out there. There's no such word as unemployment. There's always somebody who's willing to pay somebody to do a job well done. Now, if you're a slacker or an incompetent or both, don't expect to be a success. You know, if you say you're going to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, be there at a quarter to 8 or 10 of 8. Don't be there at 8:05. I was lucky. I was told at a young age how to be successful. It's not that hard. Number one, show up. If you just show up, that puts you probably above half the people out there, because a lot of times people just don't show up. Now, if you stay on the job all day and work your shift, that probably puts you in the top 80%, because a lot of people show up but they don't really work their shift, and sometimes they bolt out early, they quit. So if you can do that, you're ahead of 8 out of 10 people. Now, if you apply yourself and you do just a little bit better than average, you're going to be somewhere closer to the top 10%. That's right, the top 10%. And then that means you've only got maybe one other person to compete with to be number one, where you excel, where you're excellent, where you master your job, your skill, your profession. I mean, if you think about it, over the course of, say, the next 5 days after you watch this video, when you're out in public, and if you go to any retail establishment, or you do anything that is commerce, anything that's business related where money's being exchanged, I want you to pay attention to the person you're dealing with and see if they're a slacker, if they're above average, or if they're excellent at what they do. I don't care if it's the clerk at the store, or the person at the mom and pop business, or any government agency you walk into, or business. I want you to just observe the people and see how they respond. If you ask them a question, are they knowledgeable? If they don't know the answer off the top of their head, can they get the answer quickly? And you can see, or you will see, that in most cases, you're going to wonder what's the world come to, especially if you've been around the sun, say, about 30, 35, 40 times or more. You're going to remember when you were younger how people could do simple things like make change. How they were maybe courteous. How they knew what they were talking about. I mean, a good one is going to a hardware store. We're talking about those big box stores again. You think those guys in the orange and blue robes, or what do you call those things? Aprons, really know what they're talking about? Most of them don't have a clue. They might tell you where you can find something, but if you need any more detailed information, and you're lucky if they can tell you where to find it, because the stores are so big, they just don't know. Do you really, if you're looking at two items, it's like, do you buy this one or this one? And you ask them a question, do you really want to take their word for which one to buy? I sure don't. I mean, every now and then you'll find somebody that used to be in the trades that knows what they're talking about, but not often. Auto parts stores. There's usually one guy in there that knows his stuff, but most of the time he's busy, and you'll get the other person that I don't think they've even ever turned a wrench. So the main point is that for those of you who say that, how to earn 15 or 15 an hour, you're worrying about, well, if you work for somebody else, you can get unemployment. Or see, this guy says there's no such thing, because if you go out there and you bust your hump, you'll find work. If you do a good job, work will find you. Just remember that. If you do a good job, work will find you. In fact, your phone will ring off the hook. Doesn't matter the economy, because my opinion, I don't think there's anything wrong with the economy. Not when I see restaurants filled and people, we call them cone lickers. The tourists, they come by, they buy ice cream cone, they walk down the street, you see them licking cones. When there's a lot of tourists around, I mean, even AAA said this Labor Day that, the driving's probably going to go up, even with $4 plus gasoline. So there's people out there spending money. If they're spending money, then it's up to you to figure out how they can spend some on your goods or services. Like I said, people are funny. There's always going to be somebody out there that just takes exception, and that's okay. But that's what makes the marketplace. Because there's some people that don't want it and some people who do. It's what causes prices to go up and down. One of the things. Well, I'm probably getting into the boring zone now, so I guess I'll just end the video. And I'll see you next time.